When I began to read Brown's transcripts, I was awestruck by the testimony of homicide detective Al Byram. He had gotten the original story from Brown after informing him that Turner had rolled on him and blamed him for the murder of Jennifer Evans. Brown now admits that he was angry and felt betrayed when he made up a story about his swim buddy.
I knew he passed the lie detector test and he didn't do it. I refused to take it, so I know they're going to believe him. And I knew there was no way I could take on all three of them because, one, the cops are going to believe him, the prosecution's going to believe him, and his story's true. So I said, well, yeah, they're going to want two rather than one. I know, just not right or wrong, just because of how they are. They would rather prosecute two. So I made up the story that's what happened. Complete lie, by the way. So I figured, man, yeah, I knew I was going down. There was no question. I already knew I was going down. My only friggin' point was, look, dude, if you like to tell you like to tell, you do the time too and see how you like it. So then after a while I was sitting there, I said, man, the heck with that. And that's when I made up the other lie and say, no, she was dead before I ever got there. That was all of that was complete lies.
Let me ask you this. Statement 1, statement 2. Is it possible that this could be a cross?
What do you mean cross?
Some of this is true and some of this is true?
No.
It was perfect for them to go along with parts of Billy's stories where they wanted to.
The diagram.
The diagram's true because that's the way she was laying in the car.
But
She was laying.
y'all didn't actually have these seats laying down at any time, but she was laying like this in the back of the car.
Yeah,
And you were in the front passenger seat, and that's when you leaned back there or reached back there.
I was in. This
Yeah.
is me. Yeah. I started to pull her up, and then that's when Dusty said, no.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Brown's attorney, Andrew Sachs, cross-examines Detective Byram about how he got this first confession from Brown and points out that the car where the murder occurred does not configure in the way Brown alleges in his story where both men were involved. Detective Byram, under oath, testifies that he never physically looked in the car. This made no sense. This made less than 0 sense to me. This is the car that the Commonwealth is alleging the murder occurred, and the lead detective had not looked in the car? Who had? Why is he or she not testifying?
The car was simply too small for to have occurred the way the prosecution outlined it. And I'm sure that's why they didn't want the jury to walk down and take a look at the car, because they would have said, wait a minute, this guy's 6'3", this guy's 6'4". They must have been like one of those clown cars at the Shrine Circus, where two big guys are in this little tiny car. It would have been a joke. They would have said, wait a minute, what are you telling us? This couldn't have happened that way.
And I cannot get back in the side of I cannot fit back here at all.
You could barely fit these two men in that car, and now you're going to put a young woman in there, and then you're going to position them all in these different positions, and this guy's going to be leaning over here, and she's going to be in between the seats, and it was inconceivable how that could have happened the way he described it.
You could barely sit in the back of Dustin's car without hitting your head on the top.
There is no space in between the console. It is seat, console, seat.
It would have been so easy for the detectives to simply got a mannequin of the approximate size of the victim and go to the suspect and say, okay, show me how you did that. And I don't think it would have been possible.
Just look at it, just read it and look at it, and you'll automatically know it's false.
Okay, so there's some problems I had doing this 3D animation. Some of them are technical because there is simply no way you can get that body that's sitting in the back seat into the front seat, because it's only 7 inches wide between these seats at the bottom, which is where the body's going to be. Unless this body is made out of helium and is floating at the ceiling, you cannot put that body between the two seats.